Genesis 6. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so are the Trinitarians correct? Are they right? Am I wrong? Am I making too big of a deal about this whole, well, he's begotten but not created, and there's a difference thing. And so, while I still feel Trinitarians have no evidence, no justification for this denigration of a created Son of God. You have nothing. Nothing. Nothing at all. And you keep doing it. You keep making it seem like we're blasphemers because we believe in a real firstborn Son of God. Incredible. Genesis 6:7. Look at this. It says, so Jehovah said, I'm going to wipe men whom I have created off the surface of the ground. Who is he talking about here, Trinitarians? Who are the men that he created? Because the Hebrew term is bara. The Greek is poieo. It doesn't use genao. It uses bara, just like Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Trinitarians, are the heavens and the earth living in the same way that humans are living? Because Genesis 1:1 said God created them. And Genesis 6:7 says God created men. And he's going to wipe out the ones he created? So is that just Adam? Because every other man after Adam was what, Trinitarians? Begotten. There's no difference. That's why there's no difference made here between Adam and all those begotten men and women being talked about as creations. Bara. Now, let's go to Proverbs 8. This is the text that's going to steal the show in this context. Because not only can we see here clearly that created is used of those who are begotten, there's really no difference, right? It's just the manner. Humans are born through a process, a reproductive cycle, whereas things that aren't in a birthing process, they're just created in a way based on whatever Jah, the Father, brings out of himself. All things are of the Father. But he, in humans, created a cycle, a reproductive process that still gives life to new life, right? It starts with one, two come together, create a new one. But it's still creation. The child is begotten, but that's the same thing. Jehovah, the Father, creates us in our mothers, in the combination of genes that we inherit from our fathers. So it's just a different type of creation. But it doesn't justify claiming that one is temporal and the other is not. You have no basis for doing that. And you don't even have a basis for differentiating creation from begetting. I'm going to show it even further right now. Proverbs 8. We'll take a look at a few more texts and wrap this up, friends. I really appreciate you all staying up. I wanted to give a little more time and feeling and just really think about some things more deeply with you all, being that this will be the last Bible and the Trinity video for a little while, and it concludes our prologue of John series. But in Proverbs 8, let's take a look at this whole creation begetting thing, because we've already established that there really is no difference when it comes to things that are created, where there is a difference in the sense of non-living things being created and living things being created or birthed through a process, but it's still creation. The reference that Jah makes in Genesis 6. He doesn't distinguish Adam, who he created from the dust, from the ones who were born after being begotten. Proverbs 8:21. So as we know, right, in Proverbs 8:22, I should say, we've discussed this text in separate videos. So I'm not going to get into the typical elements, the whole kana meaning and stuff. I've talked about it. But I'm bringing it up to show a contrast between created and begetting, and to show that there really is no difference. Not even in the text where the terms are used by the ancient Greek writers. So here in Proverbs 8:21, In the Greek text, it uses a form of katizo. So it says in the NWT, Jehovah himself produced me, right here. But in the Greek text, it says created me, which is what kana means anyway. Same like with Eve when she said, I have begotten or created a child or a man with the help of JahWah in Genesis. Right? It uses kana there. And she didn't go buy or get Cain. She created Cain in the same way that Genesis 6 says, I'm going to wipe out all men whom I've created, and yet some were directly created like Adam, and others begotten. And yet it's really seen as the same thing because they're given a start to their life. They're made after they're begotten in a creative sense. It's still a start to life that never leaves the ideas associated with begotten in that sense of a human and the birthing process. That is the exact imagery we're given of the Son with the Father. So right here, as we know the evidence is overwhelmingly clear in the Bible that Jesus is the wisdom of God. The early church writers, even for the most part, accepted that. They just got lost eventually in the whole, again, eternal generation thing, or with Jesus as a man and different things. They have anything but what the texts teach when it comes to the Trinity because they just can't have it. Remember I told you that they can't. Once they accept temporality with the Son in relation to the Father, it's it. It's game over. So they can't have any of these texts do that. Not Colossians 1:15, not Revelation 3:14, not John 5:26, not John 1:18, and not Proverbs 8. Even though it says right here, Jehovah produced me as the beginning of his way. Kana, and in the Greek, katizo. Trinitarians. Greek text uses katizo right here. Creation. You say there's a difference between creation and begetting. The text says there's not. Look at verse 25. Before the mountains themselves had settled down ahead of the hills, I was brought forth as with labor pains. Gena me. Before all hills he begets me. Begets me. Verse 21, created me. Jehovah created me as the beginning of his way. Katizo, Trinitarians. Greek writer, ancient Greek Jewish writer. Verse 21, katizo me. Created me. Verse 25, gena me. Katizo and ganao are used in the exact same context for the exact same being that corresponds to only one other being who himself claimed to be that being, as I showed in my article long ago. Jah loves her, his Son, the Word. And so, you are incorrect. There is not a significant, if any, real difference between creation and begetting. It's proven right here because they mean the same thing. They're used in alternating sequences to show when this being was created. And it matches exactly the descriptions that are given of Jesus, who is said to have been created as the beginning of the creation of God. Revelation 3:14, the firstborn of all creation. Colossians 1:15, the only begotten God. John 1:18. Proverbs 8, wisdom says she was created as the beginning of JahWah's way. She was begotten, feminine only in the representational sense that wisdom is used, but not in the spiritual sense of gender like we as humans use. We all know that. And Trinitarians want to get lost and caught up on that and try to claim there's a difference between the femininity of wisdom and Jesus as the Word, or as a masculine Son of God. Well, then they just deny Jesus himself, don't they? When Jesus himself identifies himself as the wisdom of God, as saying things that the wisdom of God said, like I show in my article. and even up until the Diatessaron of Tatian. We have those two accounts combined as one, with the Son of God saying, I, wisdom. Jesus is the wisdom of God. He says it himself. The early church even believed it. And that's not my main reason for believing it, but it's consistent. They couldn't deny it as easily as Trinitarians do today, or try to. They're wrong. They're wrong on that. They're wrong on eternal generation. They're wrong on all this stuff in John 1 being outside of time when it's clearly in time, according to the biblical teaching of time. And they're wrong when it comes to the type of God Jesus is. He's not a person of God ever in these descriptions. There is not one single text, Trinitarians, that I can use, and I've thought about what can I use to try to legitimize some Trinitarian understanding to maybe bring everyone together, and I can't do it. I did. I thought about it. I thought, when I tried to look at it from the opposite side, and sometimes I can help you see things right or things you don't see. I don't see. I don't see where you're getting all these views except for later views we're not going to see in these texts.